Hi. So I got a question about what to do to help a cranky and unhappy low back. And for me personally, when my low back gets unhappy, it usually is connected to something that's going on with my hips. So for me, when I am addressing low back discomfort, I also have to address my hips. Now, that could be different for you. Totally depends on what your body's patterns are. But I wanted to make a little video about some of the things that I do to help my low back when it's off and unhappy. And if you have similar issues as I do, then hopefully you find this helpful. So, first thing that I like to work on is finding some core engagement in order to remind your core muscles that their job is to stabilize your spine. Now, the most important thing to remember with all of this stuff is that you should be working in a pain-free range of motion. So maybe it feels a little stretchy or a little tender, and that's okay. Be gentle, but move. But if we're getting into pain, sharp, stabby, anything like that, absolutely do not do this, especially when we're talking about low back discomfort. But if it's a little like, ooh, this feels a little tender or a little like I want to be cautious while I'm moving here, that's not necessarily a signal that you shouldn't move. It's just a signal that you should be cautious and gentle. All right, so we're going to start laying on our backs. So here, I'm going to start with some breathing because that's what I like to do when I'm getting ready to warm things up. So just a few deep breaths in through the nose, out through pursed lips, thinking about expanding into your armpits, into your back. And then I'm going to lift one leg and then the other. You can always keep one foot down. Again, if that's feeling like jarring on your spine, keep one foot down. We're going to switch. And like I said, should be just like this gentle, like remind your abdominals that their job is to help stabilize your spine. So a little harder is having both legs up. But if you feel like your foot reaching towards the ground is pulling your back up away from the mat, then you should leave one foot down. And here we're just checking in. Can you find that sense of wrapping in? Can you keep your pelvis neutral? There might be a little bit of lightness between your low back and the ground. And then we'll bring both legs down. We'll open one knee out to the side. Inhale it back up. And here again, hip bones staying steady, just trying to remind everything you've got a job to do. And you can even think about how little can you work while your leg is moving. You can also make this harder by lifting your leg up. And then you would just work on one side. And feel how you have to contract through the center to keep your pelvis from shifting with the leg. And we'll switch legs. Make sure your neck and shoulders are staying relaxed while you're doing this. If your low back is feeling really scared, right? You might find that you're really doing this to try to keep tension out of your low back, right? But it's not actually helping you. So arms by the sides, reach your fingertips towards your heels. You can gently press the backs of your arms into the ground if you feel like you need a little more support. But your neck is not doing anything in this situation. And then bring your leg down. From here, we're going to roll over onto our hands and knees. So finding a nice strong upper body position, thinking about those armpits squeezing closed, press the heels of your hands into the ground, draw up through your belly without changing the shape of your spine. So I'm lifting my belly up, thinking about that same feeling of wrapping and contraction through my abdominals without tucking or curling. And then I reach out with one leg. Again, here, the purpose of these exercises is to get all those muscles around your center, all your core muscles, turning on to support your spine. You can make this harder by reaching with an arm as well, but only moving when your spine can stay still, right? So if you find yourself doing this, then maybe just do the leg. If you can reach with your arms and keep your back still, great. And you can always put a yoga block across your low back to give you a little bit of feedback. All right, so once we have all of the core muscles on a little bit more, you feel like they're engaged, then we're going to start moving the spine a little bit. So we're going to do articulation, curling from the pelvis, and be gentle here. How much can you flex without it getting really uncomfortable or guarded feeling? And then extend, lift the tail. And as you extend, I really want you to think about contracting your core. So instead of letting your belly hang down, you're stretching the abdominals. And curl. And extend. You can do that more if you want to, if it feels good. I'm going to come down onto my elbows, and I'm going to do one that is focusing just on the low back. So if it felt good for you to flex your spine, then try this. If flexing your spine felt dangerous or scary, then maybe don't try this yet. So here I'm pressing in with my elbows. My upper back is pretty round. I'm going to round my whole back. And then keeping my upper back round, I'll lift my tail and extend just my low back. I stop when I get to the ribs. And then I curl, lifting, lifting, lifting through the belly, really trying to flex the spine. So now we're isolating the lumbar spine. Back and forth a few more times. And flex as much as you feel comfortable doing it. Feeling stretchy feeling here is okay. But if it feels sharp, then don't push into it. And I'm going to do one more. All right, so now we're going to bring the focus to the hips, and you're going to want to grab a chair or an ottoman or a footstool or something that you can put a foot on. Okay, so now we're going to stand with our back to the thing, and you're going to have your front leg a ways in front. Your back leg is up with just your foot resting on it. And we're going to do a little split stance squat thing here, or lunge. So my shoulders are over my pelvis. I'm thinking about some core engagement. And then I'm going to bend my knees, trying to go straight down, and then press into my front foot to come back up. Try to keep those hip bones pretty level. And think about using the back of your front leg as you stand up. Now, if you have a tendency to be a big back archer, you're going to feel your butt wanting to stick out. So that's that feeling of trying to curl as you bend the knees to keep your spine straight. And you might also want to lean forward to try to counterbalance. So you might feel almost like you're trying to lean back to keep yourself balanced over your pelvis. I'm going to do one more on this side. And then switch sides. So same thing here, square hips, shoulders over pelvis, bend both knees. Think about that curl. Trying to go up and down and trying to stand up by pressing your front heel into the ground. So using the back of your leg to stand up. Let's do two more. right, so I'm going to go back to the first leg. I'm going to be much closer now because I want my whole shin resting on the box. And that brings me into a little bit of a, like I can go into a lunge or a half kneeling position. I'm going to bend into my front knee, but still thinking about that curl. And then I'm going to try to pull my kneeling hip bone to my front knee. So I'm twisting my pelvis around my femur. You can play with positioning here, but really stay connected through the belly. And this is not about going forward. This is about finding that twist. So I'm trying to keep this still and move my pelvis around it. I'm going to do one more. Doesn't need to be a big motion. We'll switch sides. And you might notice it feeling really different from side to side. It's a lot easier for me to do with my left leg in front because my right hip is the one that gives me all the problems. And do one more. All right, and then I'm going to stand back up. I'm going back to the first leg with my foot on the box. And I want to be standing so that my knees are about in line with each other. And now we're going to do a standing roll down. We're going to do 2 on each side. Don't think about this too much. Just try to articulate through your spine. Dropping the head, letting your arms pull you forward. And then leave your head heavy as you roll back up. Now this one will definitely feel vastly different from side to side. It is so much harder for me to do when I'm standing on my right leg than when I'm standing on my left leg. Do one more. And that's just interesting information for you to have about your body. Now we'll do 2 on the other side. And this is so much easier for me. And just kind of do it without thinking about it. Whereas when I stand on my right leg, I really have to pay attention. Do one more. All right, that's it. Hope it was helpful. You can comment below if you have any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.